Good Saturday morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. We will be in the 11th proverb today, if you want to look there this morning, and we will be starting in verse 29. And as we wrap up chapter 11, we Solomon's going to remind us that of the consequences that the decisions we make will have consequences or rewards, good or bad. That as the New Testament teaches us, we reap what we sow. And verse 29 this morning starts out with a good reminder for us. That should certainly get our attention when he says, "He that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind, and the fool shall be the servant to the wise of heart." When a person chooses to reject the guidance and the wisdom of God, and they decide to live a foolish, ungodly life, he says, then the family itself suffers for that. And that they're ashamed. He's specifically talking about literally an inheritance here that wise parents wouldn't leave their hard-earned what they've worked for to a foolish man, and they won't, that they reward their faithful children. And so he just reminds us again that one of the many consequences, again, this is a good example of what we've said about the book of Proverbs, that these are proverbs, that these are just kind of some general principles. Certainly have been plenty of parents who were very wise, worked very hard, and left their ungodly, wicked children a large inheritance. But Solomon's saying, generally speaking, they're going to be a little more careful, and that they're going to be a little more wise in how they handle their affairs. Verse 30, "The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise." A righteous man bears fruit, very straightforward. Again, the wicked man in the last verse, he inherits the wind. But the wise man, the righteous man, he has fruit, and not only does he have fruit, because of his life, it brings others. Others choose to follow his good example. He that winneth souls is wise. He's talking about this same man. That he is a wise man, influences others because of his his wisdom. "Behold, the righteous shall be recompensed in the earth, much more the wicked and the sinner." Again, the righteous man, he says, he is going to have eternity. He will be blessed in eternity, but God takes care of them now as well. And that he is much more blessed than the wicked man. And again, these are principles, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the righteous man is going to have a huge bank account and drive a new car, but many of you listening today can certainly attest to the fact that you can live a very blessed life without a lot of the things of this world. And again, a couple principles here in these few verses that encouraging children to live wise, not to bring embarrassment and shame onto their family, and that when we do live a righteous life, when we live a wise life, we will influence other people for the good. We will influence and draw other people into living a righteous life. And for me, as I think about that, and I may not be perfectly interpreting the passage, but for me, as I think about that, I think about this aspect of it is that one day we'll stand before God. One day we're going to give an account. And what a terrible thought it is to think that that the life we've lived, the decisions that I've made, the way I have conducted my life, would be in any part responsible for pushing somebody away from living for God. And that's, again, that may not be a perfect interpretation of these verses, but that's how it speaks to me this morning. Again, that a wise man will be recompensed in the earth, but much more the wicked and the sinner. He that winneth souls is wise. Somebody, I don't know who said it the first time, said every believer, their goal in life should be to get to heaven and take as many people with them as possible. And what again, what a terrible thought to think that something I say, something I do, how I conduct myself, something I don't say or do, could play any part in someone rejecting the wisdom of God, rejecting the way of salvation. And that's the thought for me today, and I hope for you as well, that as we go through this day, as we go through our life, that we live our life in such a way that the world sees the wisdom that we've chosen to apply, the wisdom we've chosen to follow, the wisdom of God, and they desire to make those same type decisions. Something really harsh and serious to think about this morning, but I hope you'll spend a little time on it. Am I influencing people to follow God, or am I influencing people to reject the wisdom of God? You think about that. Have a great day. We'll see you back here next week.